I think part of the reason why people don't set boundaries is the fear ya ku break relationships. All of a sudden, it's now sim 2. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Catherine, and I hope that you get to stay by subscribing. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always finding my content worth the watch. This is my 131st video, and from now henceforth nitakuwa na hesabu, nitakuwa nawaandikia. So thank you for watching this video, my 131st video, and welcome to the edition I promised you. I told you guys we were going to have a self-awareness edition, and this will be the first video. I'd like us to talk about boundaries. I have talked about boundaries a couple of times. I have mentioned it a million times, but we have never spoken about it in length. So let's talk about boundaries. Boundaries are the foundation of any relationship. Your sexual, your friendship, your whatever relationship, there can't be there can't be a relationship without boundaries unless you are sailing on some people pleasing shit. So I have my notes here, so let's dive right into it. So boundaries are the foundation of healthy relationships, and they help us to protect our energy, time, and wellness. So there are different types of boundaries in every walk of life. We have the physical, we have emotional, we have time, we have sexual, we have intellectual and material boundaries. And if you know me, you know we are going to go through them all. Okay, so physical boundaries are those boundaries you set regarding your body. So physical boundaries include your needs for personal space, your comfort with touch, and your physical needs like needing to rest, eat food, or drink water. Healthy physical boundaries may sound like, I am really tired, I need to sit down now. I am not a big hugger. I am not okay hugging. I'd rather a fist bump or a handshake. Telling someone that you need to eat or you're going to grab something. Saying, no, I don't want you to touch me like that. Don't go into my room without asking me. Don't touch my hair. That's part of physical boundaries. The other boundary is emotional boundary. Emotional boundaries are all about respecting and honoring feelings and energy. So respecting emotional boundaries means validating the feelings of others and making sure you're respecting their ability to take the emotional information. It may sound like, when I share my feelings with you and get criticized, it makes me totally shut down. I can only share with you if you are able to respond respectfully to me. This happens mostly with friendship. And sometimes you'd open up to someone and kumbe they do not have the emotional intelligence or capacity to keep to themselves or to just listen to you, and they're so fast to respond to you, not because ulimuuliza juu ulikuwa na a particular way ulitaka kujibiwa, but just because ulikuwa unataka tu your moment ku open up. So setting healthy emotional boundaries may sound like, when I share my feelings with you and get criticized, it makes me shut down. Or I can only share with you when you are able to respond respectfully. The other one, you can also say, I am so sorry you are going through such a tough time right now, but I am not in a place to listen to you or to take in this information. Do you think we can come back to this conversation later? So say for instance, I am going through something and you're also going through your stuff, and I come to you, I really want you to really listen, but you're not in that capacity. Badala ukae hapo ukisema tu wa, maybe just badala wewe mwenye naambia uanze kuniambia how about you just tell me you're not in the capacity to take information yenye nakupatia because you're probably going through something. So the other one is telling someone that you're having a hard time and you really need to talk. Like, Personally, I have a friend mwenye we even set tea dates, and I'll invite her here katikati ya hii season. We have tea dates and we just go and talk about our mental health, like how are you feeling, what are you going through, are you happy, what's nini nakufanya usikie umeboeka, you know, things like those. So sometimes when I'm going through a difficult time, and since I know her and I know she also struggles with sometimes with mental health issues, I don't just text her or call her and start yapping and venting. I tell her, I am going through a really hard time. Do you think uko na ka space, uko in a position kunisikiza, like mentally uko in a position kunisikiza what I'm going through? That is setting an emotional boundary where sio wewe peke yako unajifikiria, unafikiria that other person. Emotional boundary might also sound like you telling that other person that you are not ready to talk about ABC right now, but once you do, you will, so that you do not feel pressured to share what you're going through or what you're feeling at this particular time. What are emotional boundary violations? Number one is dismissing and criticizing feelings, making someone feel like they're not supposed to be feeling the way they're feeling, asking questions that are not appropriate for the relationship, asking people to justify their feelings, and emotionally dumping on people without their permission. That's what I'm talking about. You can't just start venting kwa mtu na haujajua kama ako ready kukusikiza. Like, that's so you're entitled of you, you know. Time boundaries. Setting time boundaries means understanding your priorities and setting aside enough time for the many areas of your life, including without overcommitting. Healthy time boundaries might sound like, I can't come to that event this weekend, I can only stay for an hour, do you have time to chat today? I would love to help, but I will be overcommitting myself, is there another time? When it comes to emotional healthy time boundaries, setting healthy time boundaries, I think most of us will relate to, especially the corporate or work environment. And this was the example they gave for a violated time boundary: asking a professional for their time without paying them, or asking them to work extra and even beyond their wage. So hiyo ni kuni waste ya time. So in a professional setting, I think it's also nice to set boundaries so that you do not find yourself overcommitting and not getting anything in return. Not to say that lazima ati wezi jitolea kufanya kitu, but just make sure you have set some boundaries. Ndio usiwe feel ni kama you're getting so little doing so much. Always set boundaries. Sexual boundaries. Healthy sexual boundaries include consent, agreement, respect, understanding of preferences and desires, and privacy. Healthy sexual boundaries include asking for consent, discussing and asking what pleases you, requesting condom use if you want it, discussing contraception, saying no to things that you do not like or that hurt you, protecting the privacy of the other person. Sexual you can dictating whether or not to use a contraception kwa mtu ni kuviolate sexual boundary. Deciding whether or not umepewa consent, ama deciding it's consent even when you've not been given consent, is a violation of sexual boundaries. Saying no to when someone says no to things they do not like or that hurt them, but you keep imposing, that's a violation. If you are with someone who does not like does not like, maybe you like being tied up and I don't know, having stuff used on you, but your partner doesn't, and they have communicated this over and over and over again, but wewe hausikii, hiyo una violate hiyo boundary. This person sends you nudes because, well, a little steamy photo here and there while your butang is out there, and you decide to leak them or you decide to share them with someone else. That's a violation of sexual boundaries. Sexual boundaries. Sexual boundaries may sound like, do you want to have sex now? Is this comfortable for you? Tell me what you like or don't like. I don't like that. Let's try something different. I don't want to have sex tonight. Can we cuddle instead? I am very into anal sex. Is that something you will feel comfortable with? So that as opposed to you just surprising this person, all of a sudden it's now sim 2 and you had not discussed what this person likes or doesn't. So now you're violating this person and they feel so raped and violated. How about we discuss, like, can we communicate? What do you like? What don't you like? Sexual boundary violations include not asking for consent, such as rape, lying about contraceptives, telling someone that you are on it, you are on the pill, you used a condom while you didn't, lying about health history, talk about you've ever had an STD, you are actually battling an STI right now, you have HIV, but you're not telling the other person. That's violation of sexual boundary. You're supposed to communicate openly what your sexual status is, especially at this age where ni kupimana na macho, mnaangaliana, mnaona hau mtu ana haya. Criticizing the other person's sexual preference. If this person likes being whipped and being choked and all these things, all these things that they want done to them that you don't like, no, don't act like now you're shaming them. Like, don't criticize them at yai sasa hizo ni nini. Wewe, if you don't want them, it's fine. Be respectful. At the same time, as much as you don't want to have to do those things, be respectful of the fact that this person really enjoys them, so that it's now not awkward. Because now if this person likes receiving head or giving head, and now you are there like yuck, so like, how is this person supposed to openly communicate to you about the things they like emotionally or sexually? So the other one is intellectual boundaries, and this refers to your thoughts, your ideas, and curiosity. They can be violated when your thoughts and curiosity are shut down or dismissed or belittled. So these boundaries may sound like, I know we disagree, but I won't let you belittle me like that. When we talk about this, hakuna places ufika. So mi naona tusiongea about hii kitu. Telling someone like, I can respect that we have different opinions on this. I respect that we can have different opinions on this. What I'm trying to say is, setting boundaries does not have to be disrespectful. You can do it respectfully in a calm manner. This does not mean that you always need to accept all thoughts and opinions. You need to recognize the difference between healthy and unhealthy discourse. If someone is sharing an opinion that is inherently harmful, say sexism, homophobia, xenophobia, etc., you need to voice how you feel. And that you do not tolerate that kind of talk. So just because umeketi mali watu hamu agree on different opinions does not mean now you do not have the right to voice your opinion. Just because you disagree on matters homophobia maybe you have no problem with with wanitangwa nini, LGBTQ, but someone else has a problem with them and is such a homophobe, does not mean sasa juu umeset boundary sasa hiyo ni shida yake, acha ongelee hizo, mi stop voice opinion yangu. When this person is spewing hatred and disgust and all those things over watu kama hao, so just because you set a boundary, or just because you disagree on opinions, does not mean you do not have the right to voice your own opinion. Material boundaries, it refers to items and possessions like your home, your car, your clothing, your jewelry, your furniture, money, etc. So these boundaries may sound like, I can't lend you money right now. How else can I make sure? How else can I help? Or sure, I can share this dress, but can you bring it back on Friday? Now, setting boundaries is not for the faint-hearted, and it's not for, and on the other side, pia receiving that particular information from someone is not easy. Say for instance, you and I are friends, and you've always used my you've always come to me for, okay, you've always used my fridge. You've always I've let you use my, okay, let's say pair of shoe. You've always used my heel, ever. Me, I have no problem nimekuwa tu nikikupatia, and then all of a sudden unataka kuniambia huwezi nipatia your heel, kwani nini imechange? So I think part of the reason why people don't set boundaries ni the fear ya break relationships, because now kwani what has changed, and that's why unaanzanga kuambiwa sasa heal tu sasa heal ni kitu ya kunyima mtu. So I think the thing I've understood more about boundaries is just make sure once you set that boundary, make sure no one crosses that boundary, and if they do, make sure there's a consequence. Like say for instance, sawa, chukua your heel lakini uniletee Sunday jioni juu naiva nikienda job Monday, and then they don't bring it back. So consequence ni nini? Sita kupatia tena. So you make sure you set those boundaries and back them up with consequences. Make sure you set those boundaries and mean it. I don't like being touched like that, but Onyango from around the corner anakuja anakushika and you just giggle. Be stern kabisa. Kuwa firm na boundaries zako. Say ni job, unakuwa overworked. You've already communicated that you're going on vacation. They call them vacation, but say leave. You're going on leave, and you will not have your laptop because you're really going on leave. You're going on a mental health break or something like that. But there you are on Slack. There you are when una catch up na kila kitu, kila udaku yenye na happen kwa ofisi. Then sasa why did you set that boundary? If you already told everyone not to reach out to you during your vacation, don't break that boundary. Don't break it hata wewe mwenyewe, because the most hurtful thing is to break a promise you've made to yourself. Because now, how will these people be serious about it anyway kama wewe umebreak your promise kwako? So make sure you set boundaries na ukuwe firm about them. Say boundaries with relatives. You've set a boundary. I don't want you to ever talk to me like that again. Sindio? Especially to set boundary na relatives is very difficult. Normally it's so difficult because what do? Do you cancel them? Like, do you throw them all away in the trash? You can't. Ni relatives wako. So once in a while mtagongana here and there. So you've set a boundary. Nisisikie umeniongelea hivyo tena siku nyingine. And then here you are. Kwa hiyo gathering, you're already speaking ill of yourself about your kitu ulisema isiongelelewe. Or here you are, you're going back on your word kabisa. Unajua hiyo siku nilikuwa nimekasirika. No, you set boundaries na stick to them kabisa. Sawa. relatives by the set boundary inakwanga ngumu, but that's the only way, unless you want to be a forever chronic people pleaser, because I know people pleasers do not set boundaries. Honestly, they don't. And maybe during this self-awareness edition we're going to talk about people pleasing, but I think I already talked about it. And while I was researching on this topic, I learned that most of these things that we can't bring ourselves to doing ni kwa sababu ya childhood traumas. So say for instance you are a chronic people pleaser, your inner child is screaming for attention because the only time you received love is when you did something to someone or for someone. So most times you find yourself always wanting to do kwenda overboard kwa watu wenye hata hawa deserve, you know. Okay, say you have anger issues, or you have some really big self-esteem issue, like you're always the person who utashinda ukiuliza friends wako unakapoa hii kitu inakaje, unakapoa sana, and then the whole night you're out there asking them mko sure akiwa mko sure. It's cause you've lacked validation all your life, like no one has told you how good you look. And me, I think when you're going through such things, you're supposed to have friends that understand you. You know, if you have an overthinker as a friend and you are an overthinker as well, vile nita behave haifai kukujamisha, unafaa kuni understand penye mi ina come from, or maybe that's entitlement, but I know majority of the behaviors we have kwa hii age ama even older ni juu ya what we went through as kids. It's most of it is childhood trauma and experiences. Say you have a problem with trust, probably your dad left, or your mom, or everyone always told you you're the reason they are not living their best life because you came into existence. So how do you start trusting anyone? You have a problem with, you know, like so many things, so many things. You'd find someone has a problem with attachment. Unapata mtu anapenda hii pin sana, and to you you're thinking that's so dumb, like it's just a pin. Labda this is the only time amekuwa allowed ku own a pin kwa life yake. Maybe this is the only time amekuwa allowed kushika hiyo green cup, hiyo blue cup, and ndio maana ako so attached to it. So I think part of all these things is just understanding yourself, understanding where you're coming from, and understanding, having a strong sense of self-awareness, you know. Yeah, so I hope you'll really love this edition. I hope you loved this video on boundaries. Next we'll talk about negative self-talk, which I was shocked to learn that it's linked to depression. It is linked to depression. So I hope you like this edition. Thank you so much for watching this video hadi hapa. I do not take it for granted, and I hope that you learn how to set boundaries and stick by them. Don't be a people pleaser. Don't break your own promises to yourself. Do not do that. So yeah, thank you so much, and please like this video, comment, subscribe, and tell me down below what you've learned about boundaries, and how, if you're planning on living better and creating or setting boundaries. So until next time, goodbye.